No, I want to divert from films to literature.
Yes,
You see, in 1957 or 58, you wrote your book on Khrushchev,
yes. I think it was in 57.
and in 1960 or 61, when did Gagarin go into space? 25 years jubilee has been celebrated only this year, so it must be 61.
Yes,
At that time, you went to Moscow, interviewed him, and wrote a book
yes,
on his flight into space.
yes.
Then, in 1966, when Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister, you were the first person to
Write a
write
book
her
about her.
book about her. It was called Red Rose,
Return of the Red Rose.
Return of the Red Rose.
Because Red Rose was the symbol of Nehru, and I thought that she was a symbol of Nehru, which had returned.
So these three books, and you also were planning on the lines of Upton Sinclair's World Series, a historical novel on
Yes.
the last 30, 40, 60, 70 years of India.
But two volumes of that I have written, and the third volume is being written now. If I survive to complete the third novel, I'll be very happy.
The first volume was called Inqilab, and it strays the history only up to 1940,
31.
31. Second volume, World is
The world is my village.
it comes up to 47, I think.
Yes, 47.
So, and now the third volume that you are writing
It
will
comes from 47 to the present time.
to the present time. So I wish you complete that novel
Before popping off.
so that we will have a fictionalized history
Yes.
of last from 1920 to 1980, 60, 70 years.
Yes.
So it is very interesting actually.
I hope so.
This we discussed about the short stories before, but you continue to write short stories all the while, isn't it?
Yes.
You have been writing about a dozen short stories a year.
Yes.
Should I say that?
Sometimes more than a dozen. Sometimes less than a dozen. It depends on what activities I am engaged in. If there are too many films, or too much of filmmaking, I don't make too many films, as you know. But if the film takes 10 months, then those 10 months there are no stories. You see. But if there are big gaps, then in between the gaps, I would write a story or two stories.
This after Asman Mahal, your next picture was Bombay Raat Ki Bahum.
Yes.
It was about actually one night in Bombay.
Yes.
Jalal Agha's, it was first film.
Was introduced in that film straight from the institute. He came to play in that film. I had seen a film of his made in the institute. I was very impressed by his acting, and I said, "Why don't you act in my film?" And he straight away agreed, and we decided to make it this film, which was also by new artists. You see,
Who were the other new artists?
the other new artists were Bimal Ahuja, whom I got from Delhi stage. I saw a play in Delhi which was written by my friend Kartar Singh Dugal, and I liked the play and liked the performance of the artist, the main artist of that play, which was Bimal Ahuja, and I immediately sought him out and persuaded him to come to Bombay and act in my film. And Surekha was cast opposite him, and Persis Khambata, who was at that time a model, was persuaded by Tinu Anand, who was for some time my assistant, and then he went to Satyajit Ray and became his assistant, and ultimately became a director himself. Now he is directing his own picture.
Madhavi also was there, isn't it?
Madhavi was there.
She was also introduced.
Madhavi.
Madhavi, yes.
Yes.
Who is married to Bappi Soni.
Yes. She played a very important role and very well played.
After
So I was all the time trying to bring in new talent, you see, to the screen.
How did the film fare? Again, the same question.
I think it fared not so badly
I
as
see.
some other films of mine, you see. Because there was a lot of entertainment in this picture. But still, there were no big stars, you see. Therefore, it had not a big opening, you see. And sometimes, you see, the distributors are so afraid of bad openings that they curtail the length of the picture, the running time of the picture, and take it off before it can become popular.
You were also in 1965, first competitive international film festival held in India.
Huh.
You were on the jury
Yes,
along with Satyajit Ray
yes.
as the chairman. You have been attending a lot of international film festivals. You were on the jury in Moscow. You were on the jury in Berlin,
Yes, in Prague also. In Karlovy
in
also.
Karlovy also. You have been. Do you think these international film festivals help to promote good cinema?
Yes, they do. But not always and uniformly. But I think our festivals are certainly of the type that encourage good cinema.
Do you think they should be held?
Yes. They provide you with a library of good cinema from all over the world in one place,
And for one season,
one season.
this after Bombay Raat Ki Baho Mein, you made a film on Goa, on the liberation of Goa.
No, first I made a small film
Ah,
that I would like to tell you about.
yeah.
I was a member of the Khosla Commission on Censorship, and this commission interviewed chairman of the censor board in Bombay. I forget the name, and now I think it was somebody. And he said to the committee, I said, why not progressive and revolutionary films are made in India as they are being made all over the world? He said, our producers are not interested in such themes, and therefore they blame it on the censor board. But actually, no producer comes forward to make progressive and revolutionary themes. I said, if suppose a producer makes it today, a progressive or revolutionary picture, will you pass it? He said, certainly we will pass it. I said, all right, I will make the picture. I will make the picture before the Khosla committee ends. He said, can you make it in a month or 2 months? I said, yes, I can make it. But it will not be a full-length picture. It will be a short picture. But it will come to the censor board, and I will see whether the censor board passes it or not. And therefore, I made a picture at the cost of the government, I would say, which was financing the Khosla Commission to go from one city to another. I decided that 4-chapter picture I will make and call it A Tale of 4 Cities. The 4 cities being Calcutta, Madras, Delhi, and Bombay. And I shot only for one day in each of these cities, used only one reel of film to shoot it, and brought these 4 reels back to Bombay when I returned to Bombay after this tour of the various cities to which we had to go in as part of the Khosla Commission. And I edited it and presented the picture to the censor board before the Khosla Commission ended. And when the picture was put before them, they were nervous to see what to do with this picture. Because the picture showed exploitation of the Indian people in all these 4 cities. The pattern of exploitation was the same, though I took various different groups and people, you see, representative people. In Calcutta, for instance, I took the rickshaw drivers who generally come from Odisha or Bihar. In Bombay, I took the red light district, where the girls are brought and exploited from all over the country. In Delhi, I took the masons and the builders who work night and day to build roads, to build the magnificent buildings and the skyscrapers of Delhi. And still they are turned out of this city which they have built. And they are turned out and made to live 14 or 16 miles away from Delhi. And Madras, I took the cart pullers who live in misery, and they live opposite the statues of the great figures of Tamil Nadu, which are put along the Marina Beach. These statues are put, and opposite the statues are the hovels, the straw hats of these very cart pullers. And therefore, I made it by montaging various shots. I remember a shot in Calcutta, for instance. There is a signboard which says Admi, and I zoom back from there and show a rickshaw puller taking a very fat man, and a very lean man is the rickshaw puller, and he is drawing the rickshaw.
The film had a lot of censor trouble.
Its censor trouble was so much that ultimately I went to the Supreme Court. I took the issue to the Supreme Court, and my lawyer said that unfortunately we cannot challenge the censor decision in the Supreme Court, but we will challenge the censorship itself and thereby bring it within the purview of the Supreme Court. And Justice Hidayatullah, who was the chairman of the the
Bench.
of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, he came to the
To the theatre to see the
to the theatre. Theatre means the
Film
film
theatre.
division auditorium, and for that screening, it was supposed to be a part of the Supreme Court. For that day, it became a part of the Supreme Court, and therefore this picture was shown there. And at the end of it, the Chief Justice and the other members of the bar who were present there, they said, for the time being, we will forget that there is a case on, and we should not speak. We should congratulate Mr. Abbas for making this picture, and shook my hands. And the next day, Mr. Khanna, who is now the head of the Doordarshan, he came to me. He was at that time under secretary or
Joint Secretary.
joint secretary. He was conducting the case on behalf of the government. He came to me and said, suppose we give you the certificate, will you withdraw this case? I said, no, the case cannot be withdrawn, but you can try. You can try to give me the certificate, and after that I will see. So next day he gave me the certificate, but I did not withdraw the case, and ultimately the case was partly in my favor, was judged partly in my favor, said it is good that the government has given the certificate, but we cannot abolish censorship as said by Mr. Abbas himself in one of his articles. And they quoted my article in the judgment, which I had written in favor of censorship, and which was a fact, but that I do believe in censorship.
But that time the government promised
Many reforms.
many reforms in the censorship, like establishing a tribunal
Yes.
which will have the last say in the matter. Today, the last say seems to be only with the I&B ministry, not with the
Yes.
tribunal.
The Supreme Court's idea was that it should be taken away from the government to a judicial tribunal. That has not come true.
not become true. Coming back to films,
Yes,
the feature film that you made
yes,
was Saath Hindustani.
yes.
How Saath Hindustani also
Was a different kind of
was a
picture.
different kind of film.
Yes.
With 7 people from 7 different provinces,
From,
7 different castes
yes,
coming together to fight for the liberation of Goa.
yes. But there were actually 6 different provinces represented by 6 men, you see. And the 7th was Goa itself, which was represented by a girl. And therefore I made it as a kind of romantic story also, that 6 men and 1 girl. The girl represented Goa, you see.
The 6 men were coming to help the liberation of the 7th, the girl.
Yes,
In a way, I mean, symbolically.
yes, symbolically.
How did you come across Mr. Amitabh Bachchan in this film?
But first I must tell you how I got hold of this idea, you see,
Ah,
because I think that is equally interesting. An assistant of mine called Madhukar had taken part in this Goa struggle. As a Congress worker, he had gone to the Goa struggle where Congress volunteers were seeking to perform satyagraha in on the land of Goa, you see, and planting Indian flags on police stations. That was a big challenge, you see, that you must be able to plant the flags on the police stations and march on to Panjim. This is how I made the scenario. You see. But the idea was real, you see, that these flags had been planted and the people had been arrested in Goa and thrown out of Goa. You see. And so I took the idea from Madhukar and wrote a scenario, I think partly with your help. So I was in search of 6
Different boys.
different kinds of boys, different looks. Some should be hefty, and the idea was that nobody should play the character that he is. If he is a Bengali, he should play Punjabi. If he is a Punjabi, he should play Bihari or something like that. You see. So I called it the Scrambled Seven. You see. That they were scrambled like scrambled eggs. You see.
You are an artist from all different provinces. Madhu came from Kerala,
Madhu came from Kerala. He was a very famous
very well-known actor there.
And I gave him the role of the Bengali. You see.
Utpal Dutt came
Utpal
from
Dutt came from
Bengal.
Bengal, and I gave him the role of the Punjabi, you see, because he was the heftiest of all. And Madhukar, who was a Brahmin, you see, I gave him the role of an untouchable.
And Mahmood's brother,
Mahmood's brother, I gave him Anwar Ali. I gave him the role of a Jansanghite, of a Hindu fanatic and Hindi fanatic. And ultimately, there was one role left, and we were in search of a boy who should play the Muslim character. Therefore, it was necessary that he should not be a Muslim. I mean, many people suggested take Sardar Jafri or take this poet or that poet. I said, but the point is that the Muslim poet should be a Hindu poet.
a Hindu artist
A
playing
Hindu
Muslim.
artist should play this role. And we were not getting the right person. And so one day, Tinu Anand brought a young man, you see, who was not Amitabh Bachchan but his brother. And he showed me a photograph of a tall, young, handsome looking fellow. I said, this seems to be the right type, you see. Because he was dressed in chudidar pajama and jawar jacket. I said, this boy seems to be promising. When can I see him? Can I see him tomorrow? Then he said, no, not tomorrow, but it will take him time to come to you. They didn't mention who he was. They didn't mention where he was coming from. He said, he will come to see you day after tomorrow. I said, all right, day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan arrived from Calcutta by plane, checking off his job of 1800 rupees, which he was getting at that time in a commercial firm. But this he revealed to me only after he signed the contract with me. But at that time, the contract was almost not signed because I came to know that he was the son of the famous Hindi poet Harvansh Rai Bachchan. And Harvansh Rai Bachchan and I were good friends because both of us were members of the Nehru Soviet Land Award Scheme. And there we were meeting every year. You see. So I said, I cannot take his son as an actor because maybe the son has run away from home or come without the permission of his father. And I don't want to create ill will between
Father and son.
And be responsible for family
Breakup.
trouble. So I sent a wire to Bachchan Saab that your son has arrived here to take part in my film. Will you allow him? He said, so far as you are concerned, he is allowed. If he is working in your picture, I will certainly allow him. So I signed the contract with Amitabh Bachchan on the same basis as everybody else, because everybody was paid 5,000 rupees. It was also a kind of cooperative picture. So 5,000 was uniformly given to everybody, to all the 7 people. 35,000 rupees was our expense for the star cast.
How did Saath Hindustani fare? Amitabh Bachchan was not known when the picture was released.
Not known at all.
Actually, it has been shown now even. The film has been revived.
Yes, it runs better in revivals because Amitabh Bachchan's name is now famous. But Amitabh Bachchan, I really think, played an outstanding role in South Hindustani. And I think his image as an angry young man is built on South Hindustani, in which he was the angry young man. He was angry because he was a Muslim and he was distrusted by his comrades, some of his comrades. And he was angry with the Portuguese who tortured him with electricity. They touched him with live electric wires, you see.
This South Hindustani got an award, isn't it?
Yes,
National
for
award.
national integration.
After South Hindustani, you immediately made a film in color,
Yes,
which also won an award for the same national
Yes.
integration, isn't it?
yes,
Do Bun Pani.
government.
Do Bun Pani was came to you. How the idea?
Well, it came through Mr. Krisham, T.T. Krishnamachari. I once met him. He had become a friend of mine after that loan he gave me in
In Pardesi.
in Pradesi. So I met him and he had come from some tour of some place. I said, where have you been? He said, do you know, I have been to a place where women have to walk 18 miles to fetch a pail of water, a pitcher of water. I said, how is it? Where is it? He said, it's in Rajasthan. I said, what are you doing about it? What is the government doing about it? He said, we are trying to help them in some ways by taking tankers of water which can give them one pitcher each, you see, in the village. But that is small scale ameliorative that we are providing. But the real problem will be solved when the Rajasthan Canal is finished. So then I heard of the Rajasthan Canal and I immediately thought of the idea that Panditji had said to me once that why don't you make films about projects that we are making? And I said, if a human story occurs to me, certainly I will make the film about the projects also. And so here immediately the human story occurred to me, and I said, I will make a film about this project. Panditji, alas, was no more alive, you see. But I said his soul will be happy, you see, if I make a film of this type. So for the studying the situation, I and my cameraman went to Rajasthan, stayed in Jaipur with a friend of ours, talked to him about the whole situation, and talked in Delhi to an ex chief engineer of Rajasthan. So he told me a story about which he had heard in Rajasthan itself. And he told me the story of 2P, that a husband and wife were passing through the desert and they had only one glass of water between them. Either the husband could drink it or the wife could drink it. I mean, it was less than a glass of water, so they could not share it. So each of them said, you drink it first. Ultimately, they died. The legend says that they died, but none of them took the water because the other would have gone. So this is a kind of love legend, you see, prevalent in Rajasthan, that how lovers consider the needs of the other more than their own need. And they would rather died than taken the water for themselves.
Did you actually go and shoot your entire film in Rajasthan?
Yes, except for one or two office scenes which were shot in RK Studios. I shot the entire picture in Rajasthan.
Who played the main role?
Main role were played by a young
I think Jalal Agha Simi
Jalal Agha
Simi.
played the yes
and Madhu,
the hero.
Madhu Chandra or
Madhuchanda.
Madhu Chanda.
And that tall man whom I took in place of tall young man, the son of Jivan, I think.
Kiran Kumar.
Kiran Kumar. I took him only because he was 6 feet 2 inches tall. Because I had to fit him into the uniform which I had prepared for
Amitabh
Amitabh Bachchan. And since Amitabh Bachchan refused to play that role, I immediately said to Jalal Agha to go out in search of a tall actor from the institute.
And so you got Kiran Kumar.
Kiran Kumar.
The Dobun Pani, I remember, was shown in Tashkent in 1972 festival. And I think it was bought by Soviet Union for commercial exploitation in their own country.
Yes.
After Dobun Pani, your film career as yourself making films became less. At the time that Dobun Pani was released, you also had written the story of Bobby.
Yes.
Bobby was written in 1971. The film was made in 1971-72. How do you feel your association with Raj Kapoor has been right from Avara to Bobby?
Well, different pictures have had different experiences, you see. But they have been declining, you see. Avara, I think, was the most successful collaboration between me and you and Raj Kapoor. But
Next was 3-4-20, which was as good.
3-4-20 was about 10% less.
But you know, people have rated, like Mrs. Kavita Sarkar, 3-4-20 as the best film of Raj Kapoor, even better than Avara.
I don't agree, but that is one opinion which is valuable, you see. Because she was a critic whose opinion I still value. But I still think that Avara was better than Sri 420. But Sri 420 was a little less than Avara.
Then Joker.
Mera Naam Joker, I think, was a very successful attempt, but not a successful picture. Because it was a story of different, it was a combination of different stories. When he got the script written by me, it was to have 6 chapters. 3 chapters are still unmade and still lying with him. He says, this is my property, I will use them sometimes or the other. So I think they will not be made.
But don't you think that, I mean, that's my opinion, that the best thing that Raj Kapoor has done is the first part of Joker. It is better than Avara or 420 or Bobby or anything. I mean, that's what I feel. I don't know whether you share my view. What do you think of that first part of Joker?
First part of Joker is the best part of Joker, but not the best part of Raj Kapoor. I don't think.
I think it is the best part of Raj Kapoor.
But that is our opinion.
I remember when after the release of Joker and its failure, one day you came to me and said, rather you tell what I want to say. Raj Kapoor told you that the failure of Joker is our joint failure, and together we must answer it. So he came to you to ask you to write a story again, with only one condition, that it should have a role for his son, Rishi Kapoor. Isn't it?
Yes. No, he said many things, you see. He said it should be a love story. And therefore the rumor went round the film industry that Abbas is copying love story, the love story for Raj Kapoor. That some kind of adaptation of the love story. Though I think the love story and the story of Bobby had nothing in common.
Nothing in common.
You know that. But still the legend persists that it was the love story. But it was not the love story, it was a love story. And so I wrote this story as a love story, but tried to put in my own ideas in the form of a rich boy loving a poor girl. That was the theme, you remember. And we put it so far as the story was concerned. But as the screenplay developed and the details were worked out, Raj Kapoor got his own ideas, which he wanted to put for commercial success of the picture. And therefore the girl became a little more prosperous, and the ayah became a governess, and the hut in which she was living and her son was living became a posh kind of bungalow in which there was drawing room sets and refrigerators, out of which the drunkard was getting his drinks, and so on. And the Raj Kapoor was very insistent on having a scene in which the girl should be in bikini and should be swimming in the, I think it is Sun and Sand or some hotel. And therefore our idea of a rich boy and a poor girl, self-respecting poor girl, because my insistence was that the poor girl becomes a friend of his because she says we will go 50-50. Whatever you spend, I will spend. So Raj Kapoor said, keep it that, but he kept on increasing the standard of the girl so that she became almost to the same standard as the boy. While he used for comic relief the ill-fitting suit of the father of the girl, when he goes to meet this rich man to talk about the future prospects of the marriage of his daughter and his and the rich man's son.
Well, Bobby was a
Was the
created
greatest hit.
was the greatest hit, and more than that, and it that time, Bobby, as a story of teenage love, was something new for the Indian screen,
Yes.
and the teenage love, whether it should be allowed or not allowed or what, all kind of controversy arose in newspapers. For a long time, it continued, and Bobby has, I think, in a way, has still remained a model
Yes.
for many producers to copy.
Yeah.
The success of Bobby has not been repeated by any other film made on the similar lines.
But it has been attempted several times.
It has been done several times, with, of course, different measure of success.
But frankly speaking, I was the least happy about Bobby. I would not like to claim on a big platform the success of Bobby as mine. I will say it is 75% or 80% Raj Kapoor. I have no share in this picture, except a very little share.
No, but the character of Premnath and the ideology, I mean, his outlook to life, in a way, did reflect your ideology
Yes, but
to some
but
extent.
it was not a
Not the main part,
main part of me.
but the Premnath's character was very much appreciated by apart from the love angle, the one character that really impressed people was that of Premnath. And Premnath himself became very popular as a result of this performance in Bobby. Now, during the last about a decade, you are not so much involved in films as you have been in the past. You have been involved in other activities. The one important film that you made during the last decade is Naxalites.
Yes.
Now, to have sympathy for Naxalites is itself supposed to be something wrong. But your film has definite sympathy
Yes.
for Naxalites. How do you account for it?
I account for it for a confrontation with Naxalites in Calcutta. Again, I will have to go back to the Khosla Commission. The time of the Khosla Commission, I was staying in the government guest house in Calcutta, when suddenly a chit came to me that we are coming to meet you tonight. They didn't sign any name and they didn't give any indication of who are coming, but they said we are coming. So I got out of several other appointments where we were supposed to go. I said I will have to stay at my room because some people are coming to see me. And actually, about 14 Naxalites came to see me. They said, we have come to see you because we want you to make a film about us. I said, why have you chosen me? You see, you have got such big directors as Satyajit Ray and Mrinal Sen and other directors. Why come to me? They said, well, we have some feeling, you see, that you will have sympathy with us and you will depict us correctly. So I said, tell me the stories about you. Then I learned that they were all Naxalites and they wanted the story of Naxalites to be filmed. They said you have made so many stars and this and that, but we want you to take revolution as the hero of your picture and show this big revolution which we are creating in Naxal body. So then they told me all these stories of police torture and the zulm that police was wreaking on them. And I was convinced that they were sincere young people who had been misguided because of their over enthusiasm. But they were over enthusiastic, but sincerity was apparent. You see. And the police was brutally treating them. At the slightest suspicion, they were shot. They told me a story, you see, which was a fact. Because it was corroborated by 3 other people. You see. I checked it with other people. I said, have such things happened? They said, yes, such things have happened. Because 1 or 2 people have escaped. and come back to tell the story. That the 14 or 16 or 20 Naxalites were made to sit in a bus and taken out to a forest and said, now you are free and you can go. We have nothing to do. The police let them off. And as they were going away, they shot them. The police shot them with machine guns and with rifles.
That is the scene in your film.
So I was very moved by this, that this kind of terror is going on. Young men are losing their lives for the suspicion of being Naxalites. So I went to, then after a year or 2 years, I went to Naxal Party itself. I said I must see the place where it all began and meet the people, some of the people. So I went to a sweetmeat shop which was the headquarters of the Naxalites and talked to the owner of the sweetmeat shop. He said, yes, this is the place where Charu Mazumdar used to sit, a chair where I was sitting at the moment. He said, in this chair, Charu Mazumdar used to sit. Then I said, I must meet Mrs. Charu Mazumdar. So I went to her house. I met her, saw the photographs of Charu Mazumdar and others, but she did not allow me to photograph those photographs, which I would like to have done. She did not allow us even to photograph her. She said, I am now an insurance agent and I don't want to be disturbed by many newspaper men and policemen coming here again and torturing me and so on. And I don't want to have anything to do with this Naxalism. So we came away from there disappointed, but at least we had seen her and seen the photographs of Charu Mazumdar.
Then you made the film.
Then I made the film much later, you see.
You made it about 4 or 5 years back.
Yes, yes.
Mithun Chakravarti was also supposed to had something to do with Naxalites before he became an actor.
Yes.
Is it true?
That is how he got the role in this film. I saw his performance in what was that picture? His first picture.
Murgaya.
Murgaya. And I liked it, and he met me after the preview of this picture at where was the picture shown?
It was shown in Bombay. I don't
No,
know.
not in Bombay, not a regular show, but a preview. It was given in Dadar, I think.
Chitra Cinema.
Chitra Cinema. Mrinal Sen was there, and at the end of it, this boy came, young man, and he said, "Sir, I would like to work in your picture." I said, "You know what is the picture?" He said, "Yes, I know. I hear that you are making Naxalites." I said, "You are willing to work in this picture?" He said, "Yes, I am willing because this is my story. This is the way he put it. This is my story." So I said, "Were you also a Naxalite?" He said, "Well, you can guess from the fact that I am saying this is my story." So I took him in the picture. So meanwhile, he had become a star and whatnot. And by the time I started the picture, he had become a star, but he stuck to his promise given to me to work in this picture, and he did work in this picture and made all kinds of concessions to me and for this picture. I mean, there is no doubt that by this time he had become a 1 lakh or 2 lakhs hero,
Much more than that.
much more than that. And he was very much in demand. So he would come in one kind of costume, you see, glittering with jewels and tinsel and so on. And he would take it off and put on the clothes. His secretary had said, "Who is your costume designer?" I said, "I am the costume designer. And I will get the costumes okayed by, not by you, but by Mithun Chakravarti himself." And Mithun Chakravarti, when he came to my house, I told him that I have designed your costumes. Have you got any objection? He said, "No, sir." I said, "My design of your costume is a jeans which have been bought from Chor Bazaar and which are very loose for you, but which you will tie around your waist with a rope. And the jeans have been torn at the ends of the trousers by me, torn by me and with the scissors. And this is and you are going to wear a torn t-shirt, I said because the character you are playing lives in a grave, and I cannot give him a fancy dress suit in a grave. I think that was the most interesting character, you see, that Mithun played as a man who lived in the grave.
This film, you won an award in Italy. Is it?
Yes.
You went to that festival.
The critics were all the time asking you who financed this picture. I said no party financed this picture. They were wonderstruck. They thought some political party must have financed it. I said no political party in India has got so much money and nobody cares to make films. No political party has financed it, but we have ourselves got together the money to.
You have been doing films. You have been writing books. You have been doing journalism. You have been also making speeches and writing short stories. How do you manage to do all this work?
Firstly, because I don't expect to be first rate in anything. I am content to be second rater in all these departments, in filmmaking, in writing, in novel writing, in short story writing. And I change these media to give myself rest, because changing from one media to another itself gives me rest and relaxation. So when I'm tired of writing, I turn to filmmaking. If I'm tired of filmmaking, I turn to writing. Writing journalism or writing literature. It gives me some kind of satisfaction and some kind of relaxation and some kind of rest.
By now, I think 71 books,
72.
72.
Yes.
That is your age also.
Yes, that is my age.
Books have been published by you, written by you. 72 books. I mean, which is quite a remarkable achievement. But to write these 72 books itself, probably 72 years, I mean, would have been a less.
Well, I didn't start writing at the age of 1.
No, you didn't. You start probably, your first book came when you were
24 years
24.
old.
Isn't it?
Yes.
You're outside India. All these books you have written in the last 50 years.
Yes.
And writing 72 books in 50 years is no joke.
Well,
But you have, I think, I have written myself somewhere that your ideal throughout your life, in a way, has been Upton Sinclair.
yes, to a certain extent. Later life he changed.
But Upton Sinclair also was devoted to several social causes
Yes.
as well as literature. And he went on writing. He has also been accused, like you, of not being always careful about his writing, not doing the first-rate job. Rather, he preferred like you to do the second-rate job.
Yes.
But to do the job was most important.
So I do many jobs second rated, as second rated. If I had stuck to one job, probably I might have succeeded in creating something first rate.
At
But
this,
I was content with the second rate stuff.
at this stage of your life, what is exactly, apart from the completing the third part of your novel, which I think you must,
Yes.
what is the thing that you want to do most?
Well, I want to create a trust for young people who are interested in various media. If he wants to be a painter, this trust will help him. If he wants to be a writer, this trust will help him. If he wants to be a filmmaker, this trust will help him. If he wants to be a musician, this trust should help him. And I want this to be open to all young people, so that the young people should not undergo those difficulties which I had to undergo. And therefore, their way should be made easier, as the life is becoming more expensive. And I think it will be difficult, impossible today for anybody to live on 50 rupees a month in Bombay, as I had to live for 3
Yes,
months.
I also lived on the same salary.
Same salary. But today, it is not possible.
It is even 500 is not possible.
Not possible. Therefore, we must help, because I find so many young people are coming with big ambitions and with big ideas, and they are going back. Therefore, this trust will help such people and create probably 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 good writers and good filmmakers and good novelists or good dramatists or good anything. That is an ambition which I have got.
How are you going about it?
Well, I have made you a director of the trust, of the trustee of the trust.
But you must have the money in the trust, no?
So we will gather together the money, starting with ourselves.
So I think we have had a long and interesting session. Anything more you would like to say?
Well, you haven't asked me the most memorable event in my life,
Yes, you tell me.
which has something to do with films also.
Oh, please.
You see, it has something to do with Algerian independence also. When Algeria became independent, all the films which were somewhere in Algeria were evacuated to France. And these hundreds of films were dumped onto the Cinematheque. And among these, there were about 2 dozen Indian films also. And because they cut out the
Titles.
titles and put Arabic titles, you see. Therefore, they had no titles, you see. And so they screened these films, you see, in Cinematheque. And one film appealed to them very much, and they screened it again and again. And they wanted to know who made this film. They couldn't find the name of the director, they couldn't find the name of the producer, they couldn't find any details. So one day, I and Garga went to the Cinematheque. When I was returning from Russia, on the way I stopped at Paris. And Garga said, well, you must be interested, I will take you to Cinematheque, which is the biggest library in the world of all good and bad cinema, good and bad. So we went there, and there was an assistant secretary, a lady who was, I think, at that time 60 years old, and had mustaches, I remember.
Yes, I met her also.
You have met her. Marie Mirsong, I think her name was. So we went to see Marie Mirsong because she was sitting on the reception table. And Garga, who knew some French, you see, explained to her who I was and I had come from India. And she said, oh, from India, then maybe he can help us. So Garga also got nervous, you see, what is this? He said, yes, we will try to help you. You see. What is the problem? He said, there is an Indian film which I have seen, which not only I but the whole committee of the Cinematheque has seen and appreciated this film. But we don't know who made this film or who produced it. And she told the whole story of Dharti Ke Lal. She said this is a story about an Indian village, and in the beginning a boat is going in a river, and then comes to a hut of a villager, and these people are starving, and then they start on a hunger march. She didn't say hunger march, she said something else. They come to some big city. She didn't know it was Calcutta. They come to a big city, and there they are starving and going about looking for bread or rice or something, and told the whole story of Dharti Ke Lal. And she said in the end, they go back to their village, and there is a dance and song, and the hero and the heroine come there, and they return without joining there. I don't know why, but she didn't know the reason. So she told me the whole story. And Garga immediately said, the maker of this film, the producer and director of this film and writer also, is sitting right opposite you at this moment. And when she understood, she got up and kissed me and embraced me and kissed me. So that kiss from that mustachioed 60-year-old woman was the most memorable event of my life.
On this happy note, end the conversation.
Yes.
Thank you.